What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. Our Sixers preview coverage continues, and we are breaking down our eighth most important member of the Philadelphia 76ers to the 2022-2023 season. Joining me, as always, my man, he is Austin Krell, covers the Sixers on the beat. What's up, Austin?
What's going on, Chris? It's always great getting back into the StreamYard studios and getting down to work.
Absolutely, man. We joined the 676 podcast with Jacob and what's his name? I'm John. Sorry, but anyway, like I went back to our first show because when I first started doing the YouTube thing, it was with you, and we were like trying to figure this thing out, and I was just having like flashbacks. It was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. If you're watching us live, be sure to comment, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, all that fun stuff. Follow my man Austin on Twitter at NBA Krell. Let's jump into this thing. Quick recap. Number 10 for you was George Niang. Number 10 for me was Isaiah Joe. Austin went Matisse Thybulle, number 9. And I went Daniel House Jr. for my number 9. Austin, who is your number 8 most important Sixer?
And number 8 most important Sixer is the 23-year-old 6'8" big man out of DePaul, Paul Reed.
Go.
I think right now he's probably the favorite to be the backup big to Joel Embiid.
Yes.
And, you know, the only thing that you were really looking for in the playoffs last season was just for the Sixers not to give up a bunch of points and get obliterated when Joel's on the bench. I thought Paul did a decent job of stabilizing that despite getting limited opportunity in the regular season. So, you know, he kind of earned some trust. And, you know, I think if he can get a full regular season under his belt to, you know, be the backup center to Joel and focus on that and develop a little bit more, I think there's a chance that, you know, he could really emerge as a fixture of the rotation going forward and, you know, really help the Sixers maintain leads when Joel is on the bench.
Yeah, that is Austin Crow at NBA Crow on Twitter. What I love about B-Ball Paul is how he just creates havoc defensively. And we saw that in the Summer League. He was by far, we did Summer League post-game shows and ranking shows, and across the board, Paul Reed was the biggest takeaway from the Summer League. He only played a few games. But what we saw from Paul Reed was by far enough, especially defensively, where I thought he really, really stood out. My question to you, Austin, you look at that playoff series against Miami. You look at that playoff series against Toronto, averaged right around 11, 12 minutes per game, like over under on minutes per game for Paul Reed. Is 12 and a half realistic?
I think you'll probably see him go more towards 16, 17 in the regular season. Then, you know, as the playoffs come around and depending on the quality of opponent, that'll probably dip down more towards that 14, you know, the 12 to 14. But I mean, I think he has a chance to really, you know, be effective in a much bigger role, 17 minutes a game, because you want to keep Joel healthy in the regular season, and that means cutting back on his minutes when possible. And there are going to be some opponents that trend towards the smaller side that, you know, are going to get obliterated anyway, because they're not trying to win games. And I think Paul has a chance to really, you know, have a great third year in the league.
Yeah. Heading into the Summer League, it was kind of like Bebo Paul, Charles Bassey, who's going to get the backup center minutes. Paul Reed, I think, blew Bassey out of the water this summer. For what it's worth, it's Summer League. It really, truly means nothing until the season starts. But I think the Paul Reed victory tour in 23 is definitely coming. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I will roll on to my number 8. And for me, you went Matisse Thybulle at number 9. I'm going Matisse Thybulle here. Number 8. Let me put that and make it official. This one's tough, Austin. This is going to be a tough show because there's no bigger fan of Matisse Thybulle than me personally. And when you talk about Matisse Thybulle, this is a guy who makes eye-popping defensive plays and can, like Paul Reed, wreak havoc on defense in so many different layers. He made the All NBA defensive team in 2 of his first 3 years, and he's only been playing rotational minutes. And but I think the conversation starts, especially if you're a Sixers fan. While he's a plus plus defender, most people are going to look at those massive holes in Matisse Thybulle's offensive game. This guy was borderline unplayable in the playoffs because of those holes, and he's heading into that final year of his contract. And I don't honestly think the Sixers see this guy as part of their long-term future. I think the realistic take here is they should have traded him a long time ago, and that hurts to say that, but the truth of the matter is the Sixers bench was horrible last year. Morey has been adding rotational pieces who can contribute on both ends of the floor, fit well with Embiid and James Harden and Melton Tucker and Daniel House. And we all know here, we're sitting here, there's nothing more important to the Sixers than adding floor spacers around Embiid and Harden. So regardless, I think the Sixers are in a win-win situation when it comes to Matisse Thybulle. I think he still does have starter potential if his offense improves. And if he can take those next steps in his offense, I think he's ironically one of the best players on the Sixers roster. I think he's a plus starter if he starts to shoot the rock. But I think Thybulle, he's got a future in the league, but I'm leaning towards not being with the Sixers.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think if he can make 34% of his threes, this upcoming season and take 4 or 5 per game, I think that's a step in the right direction for him. I don't know that I ever see him becoming a 37% three-point shooter on real volume because I don't see him being a volume three-point shooter. And as good of a defensive asset as he can be, his defensive impact can't be felt because his playing time is going to be a function of his offensive game, and if he's not making shots, he's on the bench when the games matter, and that's a problem.
Yep. I will never get the images out of my head of 3 guys in the paint and you've got Thybulle in the corner and literally no one within 15, 20 feet of him. He's just sitting there. Teams literally in the playoffs completely disrespect his shooting, and they should. And they should. So any other comments on Matisse Thybulle, Austin? I think we touched on Matisse Thybulle on our last show. So go check that out on Thybulle. That was a few days ago here on the channel. All right, let's wrap it up. Austin, do you have anything you want to plug before we end shop here?
Nope. When the website is back up and functioning, I will be pumping out some written content. So be on the lookout for that when the website is back up and running. Hopefully sometime in the next couple of days once August rolls around.
Yeah, apparently we got cyber attacked or something, and our numbers went dramatically off the charts, and it made our site crash. And I have no idea how or why, but here we are, and we're waiting until August 1st rolls around, and thepaintlines.com will be back. But until then, we're going to be definitely finding solutions to make sure this doesn't happen again. The website world is not. It's a cruel world, Austin. It is. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Follow the show on Twitter at Party on Broad on Twitter. Do you want to play anything for Feed to Embiid?
Nope. It's the off season time. I may have a rising NBA insider on the pod soon. So we will see about that. But these are the dog days of summer. Content is quite scarce, and we'll be kicking back up soon once the season comes around.
Yep. Be on the lookout for our number 7 show. That will be coming in the next few days. But Again, follow my man Austin on Twitter at NBA Crow, one of easily the best Sixers Twitter follow there is, period. I am Dives Mr. Crockpot. Be sure to like, be sure to comment, be sure to subscribe. We'll see you again in a few days as we break down number 7. For Austin, for myself, stay awesome.